For hardworking Americans that want to safeguard their family's future, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Protect Your Family and Money Show, a podcast that features top insights and delivers bite-sized moments of pure gold, so you can benefit from years of legal know-how in just minutes. Each week, we bring you the things that make the big difference, so you know how to keep your family and money safe no matter what tomorrow brings. Now, here's your host, Grant Eagle.
Hey everyone, and I'm here with our special guest, Fred Haiman, a leading estate planning and elder law attorney based out of Frisco, Texas. And today we're talking about how business owners, doctors, and high net worth individuals are risking putting their family in harm's way and potentially having all their financial affairs dragged into court and out into the open if they suddenly get sick or have a serious accident, or worse, they die. Plus, Fred's going to be helping us today with some things you can do to avoid it happening to you. Good to have you on, Fred.
Good to be here, Grant. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now, before we get started, if you've had any kind of life event recently, or you know someone who has, and you need some urgent planning advice, or you just need some questions answered right now, just go to protectmymoneyindfw.com. That's protectmymoneyindfw.com. And you'll get a free assessment, some immediate next steps, and above all, peace of mind. So to kick off, Fred, let's talk about some of the problems people can have if they do suffer a sudden life event and what they need to know to avoid things getting out of control. And you were saying, really, to kick off, a will isn't enough to avoid the court getting involved with your financial affairs. So could you just set that straight for our listeners?
I think the biggest issue that I notice a lot of my people, my clients have, is distinguishing between life and death, and being able to take care of yourself in life if the unexpected happens, like illness or disability or car accident, and what happens in death. And those are two completely distinct things. And so a lot of people that have a will think they're covered when a will is a death document. It is not a life document. And so a will is a good starting point for taking care of things after you pass away, but you need other things to take care of that what if.
Sure. So can I just stop you there? So I just want our listeners to be clear on this. If they've got a will, like you say, that's great, but it doesn't avoid crawling over all of your financial details after you've died and potential family arguments, right?
Not whatsoever. And in most states, most jurisdictions, and in Texas where we are, probate has to occur when you have a will. The will just says what you want done, but you got to get the court's permission to do it.
Okay. And probate, just again, for anyone who doesn't understand that legal term, that basically is what, Fred? What is probate?
That is hiring an attorney, because you cannot do it on your own. The law doesn't allow it. So you have to deal with legal people. You've got to file things with the court. You have to go through months of possibly multiple hearings. You have to file lots of records with the court that they require, and all of that becomes a public record.
Right. So that's just one issue. Also, you were mentioning during life, if for any reason you become incapacitated and your wife needs to get access to the bank account or vice versa, just explain what the downside is there if there are no directives in place.
Okay. If there are no documents, the biggest issue comes down to, and it's as simple as needing your signature. And if you're not able to give your signature because of illness or being in the hospital, whatever the case may be, then we have a big problem. And so without documents, you've not given somebody else permission to do your signature.
And if you're a business owner, for example, obviously in a small business, a family business, if the main, let's say the father of the family or the mother of the family that runs that family firm, again, that may be the only signatory on some of the accounts, that business can't transact or do anything while that person's out the picture.
I've seen situations where it completely shuts down. They can't pay bills. They can't deal with vendors. They can't handle with customer issues. It's an absolute nightmare.
All right. So let's just talk about a couple of things that can be done. And one of those was what you refer to as a living lockbox. Just explain some of the benefits of this kind of arrangement and what people get out of it so they don't have to worry while, let's say, they've had an accident.
Well, the living lockbox is a mechanism that works both in life and death, which is an awesome thing. It can have things in it, if it's properly drafted. It can have things in it, prevent guardianship. And we didn't really talk about that, but when you don't have documents and somebody can't sign for you and somebody can't transact business for you, they may have to go to court and become your legal guardian. And that is an outrageously expensive, horrible process.
All right. So we don't want that, right?
You don't want that by any means. The only person that wins in those situations is the attorney because they make a lot of money doing it. And so the living lockbox would prevent that because it would have mechanisms in place that if incapacity happens, other people can step in and take over.
Okay. And those are people that you can basically decide who that is. It's not a random event. You can decide beforehand who that is, right?
You can put people in charge that you trust to do financial issues and healthcare issues.
Okay. Right. So your medical wishes can be adhered to even if you're not able at that point, let's say in the event of a car crash, to talk to anybody. Those people can step in and look after your wishes for you, right?
Exactly right. They can make medical treatment decisions for you. They can talk to the doctors. They can step into your shoes and fight for your medical treatment when you can't fight for yourself.
Okay. Now, upon death, which is going to come our way at some point, whether that's sooner rather than later, you're also mentioning this sort of treasure chest, you refer to it as, which again gives you even more control and avoids all these costs in court and the court getting involved with your personal affairs, yeah?
Exactly right. And it's really the living lockbox you referred to even earlier. We can call it a treasure chest, whatever we want to refer it to, but it's the same thing that has language in it that talks about what happens in life and it talks about what happens in death.
Okay.
And the greatest thing I love about that when I help my families do it is what they put down in writing overpowers what the government says, and it keeps the courts out of their life.
Amazing.
The two things nobody wants. How do I keep the government out of my life? How do I keep the courts out of my life? This mechanism does that, and it's amazing.
Okay. So basically, for our listeners, if you want to protect your family, and especially if you run a family business or have a professional practice, you've got savings and property, as well as bank accounts and life insurance, all that stuff, you definitely want to consider this kind of protection and avoid some of the problems we've discussed today. Now, I just want to say, Fred, thank you ever so much. And if you like the advice you've had today from Fred, anyone listening can go to protectmymoneyindfw.com. That's protectmymoneyindfw.com, and you'll get a free assessment, some future planning steps, and you'll be able to get a plan of action that I think will make you feel a whole lot better. Look, Fred, thanks again. It's good to have you on, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you so much, Grant. It was great to be here.
All right. Speak soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Protect Your Family and Money Show. If you'd like to contact our featured guest, just go to www.protectmymoneyindfw.com and you'll be able to get a free assessment, some immediate next steps, and above all, peace of mind. Oh, and if you know someone that needs help, then just tell them to get in touch. The Protect Your Family and Money Show, helping hardworking Americans keep their family and money safe. The views expressed by the participants are their own and are not endorsed by the show. Nothing said in this podcast is legal advice for you.